Professor Bhatt has presented the book to Swamiji.
Of Indian Philosophers and Thinkers, Encyclopedic Collection, Professor S.R. Bhatt.
At the outset, I offer my reverential regards to Pujya Ma Sadguru Saraswati and pranam to Swami Shrihariprasd ji, respects to the Thai Consul General, who is a Buddhist scholar, but I am also known as a Buddhist scholar in India and abroad because I have written many books on Buddhism. And all other dignitaries who are present here, they are the cream of the society, and they in fact represent the diversity of Indian culture. So my pranams to all of them. The topic is quite fascinating and also of practical use, because all of us face this dilemma in our life as to whether to do this or not to do this. And this dilemma has to be resolved. In the Bhagavad Gita, dilemma is put forth, but it is resolved there. Because Lord Krishna says, Sanshayatma Vidashyati. The person who is facing a doubt and remains in doubt will just finish. So a doubt has to be resolved. And for this we have to find out the solution, the way out of the dilemmas that we are facing. What to do and what to do? Well, it's not easy to decide. Kim kartavyam, kim akartavyam. Kavayah api atra mohitaha. Even the wise people get baffled as to what is to be done and what is not to be done. But we have to not only face the dilemma, we have to resolve the dilemma. And for this, therefore, we have to have right knowledge. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. The two terms here, karma and akarma, there are multiple approaches and understanding. So, one approach is that by karma means to do something which is righteous, which is virtuous, and akarma is to do something which is vicious, which is harmful. So this is one understanding, that the two constitute opposites in the dilemma. The virtuous is to be performed, the vicious is to be avoided. Well, if we do that, then there will be peace and harmony in the society. So it is every action we can't remain inactive. Of course, instinctive activities are there, but even voluntary activities we have to perform in our life. And we perform these activities both for our sustenance and also for enhancement in our life. And therefore, activities we have to perform. We can't remain inactive. But what action we should perform? That is most important. And what action we have to avoid, so that there is no harm in the society. Peace should not be disturbed. There should not be tension in society. There should be tranquility in the society. So it has to be there. So we have therefore to see that that knowledge of what is to be done, knowledge of what is to be done should be accompanied by with what instruments it has to be done. And those instruments are to be used carefully. So, how to use those means to realize the goal, and then how to see that the goal is properly distributed and the result is shared by all. So, to use Sanskrit terms, we say sadhya, what is to be done, sadhana, what are the means to do that, iti kartavyata, the process of doing it, the priority and the posterity of action, different steps we have to have done. So sadhya, sadhana, iti kartavyata, and phala, the result. Whenever you perform an action, Gita says that it never remains about you. It has its result, its consequence. Its consequence cannot be avoided, but the consequence should be such that it leads to wellness of the society. And it should be shared by all. So this sort of justice, both intragenerational justice and intergenerational justice. This has to be done. So we must therefore have a right knowledge. Knowledge is given the highest place in Indian tradition. So, Indian tradition is knowledge tradition. Yes, our governor also emphasized we must know, and we must know the things as they are, not otherwise than they are. That means we always make a distinction in Indian tradition between knowledge and error. Knowledge is to be acquired, error is to be avoided. So how to avoid error and how to realize knowledge? Knowledge of the reality of our own self, reality of the surrounding universe, and the reality of the underlying reality. We call it as ultimate reality. So knowledge is very important. We must know. We must know the sadhya, we must know the sadhana, we must know the iti kartavyata, and we must know the phala. This sadhya, or the goal, is not a utopian ideal. It has to be accomplished, and therefore we must secure all those means which help us to realize the goal. Those means can be material, they can be intellectual, literary, they can be spiritual. But we must gather the means to realize the goal. Our life is meaningful, not meaningless. So it has goal, and we must have a schema of goals. Not one single goal, but schema. But in that schema you may have the ultimate goal also. In Indian tradition we call it moksha, in Buddhist tradition we call it nirvana, whatever it is. But see, our life is goal oriented, and therefore how to realize the goals of life, both the proximate and the ultimate. For that, as I said, we have to have the sadhana, the means to realize the goal. The means should be efficacious enough to realize the goal. They should not be detrimental to realize the goal. This is most important. They must be conducive to realize the goal and not detrimental. Quite often, we may postulate a goal, but we choose such means which are harmful. maybe apparently good to one's own self, to the doer, but it harms the society. And therefore we have to see to it and that the means that we accumulate should not be harmful to anyone. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. This should be the ideal when we collect the means. Now these means are to be put to use. This is instrumentality. And in putting them to use, again, skillfulness is needed. Bhagavad Gita says, Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Kaushal, karma kaushal. So, we have to use the instruments in such a way that they do not lead to any harm in the society. They do not disturb the peace and tranquility in the society. And the last one is the phala. The results so acquired should be such that everyone enjoys it, no one is deprived. Unto the last it should reach. This is the idea of Antyodaya that has been put forth by many thinkers. Dindayal Upadhyay also talked of it. This idea of a karma is pregnant with a very subtle connotation. Karma means to do an action in such a way that you don't feel involved in it, in doing it. You must not feel that you are the doer and you are doing it. Well, you should have the feeling that it is something which is being done, propelled by the nature or God. If you believe in God, then you say it is God who you... So, it is a wrong notion, wrong understanding to say that you are the doer. Lord Krishna says that ahankar vimudhatma karta aham iti manyate. You are only an instrument in the cosmic design, and therefore you have to partake in doing it. You can't remain inactive. Action you must have, but your action should be such that it gets absorbed in the cosmic pattern. To get absorbed in the cosmic pattern would mean that you are doing and you are not doing at all. Doing and not doing. Because you are doing something but not doing for your own sake. You are doing for the sake of the totality. The idea of this working for totality, it is there in the Bhagavad Gita. Lokasangraha is for totality. It is there. The Bodhisattva works not for himself or herself. Bodhisattva works for the totality. So, this is doing at the same time, not doing. Doing for others and not feeling that you are doing. And therefore, you should not have this sort of possessiveness in doing the action. Now, this action can be done individually. It can also be done by a crowd, by a group of individuals. It's not that individual alone works. Sometimes it is work in a collective manner. For example, Satyagraha. Satyagraha is a collective action. But that also is to be guided properly. That it should lead to wellness of the society and not harm to the society. That's why Mahatma Gandhi undertook Satyagraha. at one particular point of time, and when he found that it has led to have violence, then immediately he withdrew it. So, individual action as well as collective action. We have therefore, Lord Krishna says, take into account the result. Of course, the goal is there to be attended to. Result is also very important. And if we find that our pursuit of goal is not leading to wellness, well, we must desist from doing it. And Gita therefore points out that that action is really helpful to the society in which there is no involvement of your selfish consideration. So under karma, Gita makes a distinction between just ordinary karma that we make and nishkarmya. This is a concept which Gita has added, nishkarmya. And there is a text also, nishkarmya siddhi. So our action should be in the form of nishkarmya, wherein we do, and yet we have the feeling that I am not doing. I am only just an instrument in performing the action. So this idea of nishkarmya is very much significant. If everyone discharges one's own duty, so dharma, then it is a performance of nishkarmya. The doctrine of karma, therefore, makes an individual responsible for the karma, because karma, action and goes along with responsibility. We are responsible for our action, and we are responsible to the society, we are responsible to the country we belong to, but we are also responsible to the world at large, totality. So karma and responsibility go together. Karma and justice also go together, because while doing karma, no one should be harmed, and therefore the virtuous, of course, is to be helped, and the person who is vicious is not to be killed, but to be reformed. There are three theories of punishment that we have. One is deterrent, other is reformative, and other is retributive. So in karma, we have to see to it that preference should be given to reformative theory of justice. A person does a karma in the sense of wrong action, well, might be doing it because of the force of circumstances, might be doing it because of some mental illness, might be doing it because the person is forced by the society. So, and therefore the person has to be reformed. So, karma goes along with this sort of a reformation of the individual, and therefore karma and punishment, they also go together. This karma is also another aspect. And that is, it is not something which is idle brooding. Karma has to be done judiciously. And therefore, what is to be done so that there is a wellness in the society and in the cosmos. This sort of knowledge has to be there. And therefore, there is something called management of karma. We have to manage. We have to manage karma in such a way that it does not lead to any harm and leads to wellness of the society. So a theory of karma is very much significant, and a corollary of it is management of karma phala. Whatever action we perform should be for the society, but it should be managed so that it percolates to every section of society. So, management of karma and management of karma phala, well, that is very much involved in the theory of theory of karma. Karma, in fact, has another aspect, and that is we must know as to what is to be performed first and what is to be performed thereafter. So, what steps should become earlier and what steps should come thereafter. Therefore, Purva-Parya, we call it as Purva-Parya, priority and posteriority. Well, that also we have to take into account. In fact, the performance of karma is a complex phenomenon, and in complex phenomenon you have to have an order, and if the order is disturbed, then either you fail to perform the desired thing or you do something which is wrong, and therefore this sort of ordering in the performance of karma is very much needed. We have therefore another aspect of karma, that is proper management. In fact, in Indian tradition, it has been pointed out that we should perform karma for our empirical wellness. We call it we can say for the sake of Jagat, Jagatic life, worldly life, and also Paramartha, the highest life. So, Vyavhar and Paramartha. What should be performed? Well, first we have to gratify our needs of empirical life, and then we should go beyond the empirical. Of course, there is no dichotomy between the two, but you first Paramartha and then first Vyavhara and then Paramartha. Nagarjuna, a Buddhist scholar, says, Vyavharam anadritya paramartho na deshyate. If you dishonor the Vyavhar, you cannot realize the Paramartha. So, Vyavhar and Paramartha both are properly to be taken into account, and the Vyavharik karma and the Paramarthik karma should be clearly distinguished but not separated. Vyavhar should lead to Paramartha. We should not remain just contented with the Vyavhar only, and we have to go to Paramartha. So, Indian philosophy and culture is symbiotic in this sense, that it does not believe in dichotomies, it believes in synthesis. So, there has to be synthesis of Vyavhar and Paramartha. There should be synthesis of the Vyakti and the Samashti, the good of the individual and also the good of the society. Good of, we call it a holistic approach. In a holistic approach, will we take everything as a whole, of which there are multiple parts. The parts belong to the whole, and the whole owns of the part. Both are equally important. Every particle is a part, but every particle belongs to the totality, and therefore there has to be perfect harmony, samanvaya between the part and the whole. We have to think of the whole, good of the whole, and we think of good of the whole, it will also mean the good of the whole, and it will be also good of the every part. So this sort of organic approach is the keystone of Indian culture, and therefore though we may make a distinction between Vyashti and Samashti, we say that the two are different but not separate, and therefore in the performance of karma also this sort of a holistic approach has to be there. If you have this particular approach, then we always will think of the totality. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. This is the motto of G20 that we have in our deliberations in this century, which means that whole universe is one family, and therefore in one family there should not be any discrimination between one individual and another individual, one society and another society, one community and another community, or even one nation and another nation. But this is not an ideal. It is something to be put to practice. And I am happy to find that our present Prime Minister followed it, particularly at the time of that pandemic of Corona. He helped the countries around who needed it, and therefore this ideal of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, well, our actions should be guided by this ideal. Ideals are not just to be postulated, but they are also to be emulated, and we do it. I think this theme of karma and akarma is very much significant when we understand karma as nashkarmya karma, selfless karma, a karma in which the motive is not selfish, the motive is to serve the society and the total cosmos, and akarma is to avoid all sinful, harmful activities. So we can put it in the form of a dichotomy of opposites, and in this I think we have two other terms in our tradition, vidhi and nishedha. Vidhi means that which should be done, and nishedha means which should not be done, which should be avoided. So vidhi and nishedha are the proper guides to do actions which are leading to wellness of society. Human being is the highest evolute in the cosmic process. Human life is a prized possession. Human being has intellect. human being has the freedom of will. Human being has a clear understanding, vivek, of how to be avoided the evil and do the good. But this requires responsibility. And the responsibility is not just to have a proper guidance for ourselves, but it should be guidance for the whole society and the cosmos. Therefore, this karma and this sort of responsibility go together. Karma, therefore, has multiple facets, and we can touch upon any one of them and go into detail. We can discuss karma and akarma. We can discuss karma, akarma, and vikarma. In Bhagavad Gita, in the 4th chapter, first in verse 16, a distinction is drawn between karma and akarma. And in 17, Gita introduces this karma, akarma, and nishkarma. So this idea of nishkarma is very much important. Gita says that there are two things in a karma. One is the motive and other is the intention. Of course, we are always motivated to do this karma or that karma. But then we should be very much clear that our motive should be good. Motive should not be something which is harmful. We have to attend to our motives. And for that, therefore, we say we should have what is known as kushala chitta. Kushala chitta. Yajurveda says, Tanme manaha shubha sankalpamastu. Let my mind be pure. Let my mind always think of good. So, purity of chitta, intellect. And if you have pure kushala chitta, your karma also will be kushala. Bodhi chitta and bodhi charya. There is a text called Bodhi Charyavatara by Shantideva, a Buddhist scholar. So he talks of Bodhi Chitta Utpada and Bodhi Chitta Prayana. So same is stated very clearly in Dhammapada, another Buddhist text. Therefore, we have to see to it that our mind is pure. We have to first attend to internal purity. If we have a pious mind, naturally our action will be good. But if we have vicious mind, then you can't expect a good result. The law of causation operates in our performance of action. And therefore, we have to attend to the causal part of it, so that the effect part is automatically taken care of. Our rishis and munis, therefore, have always emphasized on sattvic aspect. The distinction is drawn between sattvika, rajasika, and tamasika. Tamasic we have to avoid. Rajasika is something which is to be controlled, and sattvic is to be given paramount importance. So it is sattvic mind which leads to good karma and avoid weak karma. Weak karma means harmful karma. Now, this karma theory is to be, of course, the fertile ground is there in us, but we have to be made aware of it. We must have such a mind set that we do the good and we always avoid the evil. Sometimes in mythology we take help of some devils, and we are told by our parents when we are small children that if you do something, this thing, that Rakshasa will come and harm you. The idea of sin also is there, that if you do something wrong, you will accrue sin, and that will lead you to evil in the coming days or in the next birth. Therefore, we have to take care of this thing. Even the idea of heaven also has been introduced, so that we have been told that if you do something wrong, something bad, then you will go to heaven, and if you do something good, you will go to heaven. These are mythologies, of course, but the idea is to make us aware that we should, as a human being in particular, we must do good and we must avoid evil. So I think this idea of karma has many dimensions. Any particular dimension also can be any one dimension can be taken for elaborate discussion. And say we can, for example, karma and responsibility, that are karma and justice, knowledge and karma. In the Bhagavad Gita, we have very happy symbiosis of karma yoga and jnana yoga. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna gives knowledge about the reality to Arjuna, and then says to Arjuna that you have free will, and therefore yatheshasti tadha kuru. Do what you now feel free to do, but knowledge is needed to guide. And so paramount consideration of knowledge also, this also requires a separate discussion. How karma is to be guided by jnana, and how in fact in performance of karma there has to be complete concentration, complete devotion, and therefore bhakti also is involved. A symbiosis of karma, jnana and bhakti. They are not in contradiction or in collision. Karma and jnana and bhakti, they go together. So Gita is to be our guide in this particular respect. It's good that Swamiji has organized this topic for our discussion, and it is I should say vast topic, not very gahana karmano gati. It's not very easy to comprehend the karma and its multiple dimensions, but it is really helpful to the society for establishment of a civil society. This understanding of karma is very much needed, and I would call therefore it is a foundation stone for establishing a civil society. Karma, analysis of karma and proper adherence to karma. But quite often, unfortunately, individual is prone to evil, nations are prone to evil. We talk of peace, but there is always this disturbance of peace. Disturbance of in India we always talk of peace, but we find that people do not, even in India, we don't find that peace is properly observed, and we don't find that the peace is being observed by the surrounding countries. So, how to do that? It is something to be worried about. And there should be frequent seminars to remind us about the need for peace. Swamiji is organizing seminars on peace, but we are not only at one place. It should be in every country, in every society. So they should be told what is the importance of peace and leading such and performing such karmas which lead to peace. So we are thankful to Swamiji for conceiving this particular theme, and as he said, there will be a series of such seminars, so that will be good, and in different countries, if we can do that. It will be because this sort of understanding of peace is needed everywhere, in every society. It is not that it is a monopoly of a particular country or a particular group of people. It should be spread all along. And I would say that every religion also talks of peace ultimately. No religion will teach hatred. Only the misunderstanding of religion, they lead to this. So the priest also should be told. So what is priest? What is karma and what is akarma? So that they perform themselves karma, make their followers also karma. So we must involve. Of course, you all organize gathering of scholars from different religions, but there they should be told about this, that how they should lead a life themselves, so that there is tranquility in the society, and they should always in their speeches particularly tell their adherents to abide by this. So I thank Swamiji for organizing this particular seminar. I am not keeping well, but it is the love of Swamiji which brought me here. And therefore, my speech now, I am not that my usual self.
No, you have to
I am grateful to you, brother. Thank you very much.